This is Cutting Down the Nets. This is December 22nd. This is the last big schedule for about a week. And unlike yesterday, pool looks pretty strong. Different circumstances, not having to talk ourselves in or out of plays. I think some clear value. So, pool's big. You decide how you want to handle that yourself, but we are going to get right into it. We're currently at 2-2 on the day with Nicholls State pending. I added Fresno State against Utah after it was confirmed that Charleston was out for Utah. And then, immediately after placing the wager, there was a tweet that Jamarl Baker was out for Fresno State, which basically cancels each other out. Oh, well. Close game, lost by 5, 3-point spread. What do? You move on. So hopefully Nicholls State can get us into the black. Then we'll update record after the big slate here. So let's get right to it. Man, we got a lot of games. Okay, I will start with Arizona against Tennessee. This is a true road game for Arizona. It's tough. So I have Arizona by 2. Market has Tennessee by 2. KenPom has Tennessee by 2. I think this is a good matchup. Both sides try to limit inside. Arizona's very long, Tennessee's tough. But, both are strong offensively. So it's kind of strength against strength on the inside. One thing to note, Tennessee's laid some turds versus high competition. However, this is a road game, and Tennessee at home, I don't know if shots start falling. Go for it. I think they could get on a run. But we're asking Tennessee to make jump shots, which I don't know. The risk here is this is like betting the hot golfer. You're always going to bet that golfer if you think that they're always going to perform above expectation. I'm kind of stuck on Arizona. I'm not fading them until they show me otherwise. So I have it yellow because I think there's some risk, but they did make it into my pool. I don't think the number gets any better. So if you want to back Arizona, I think +2 is a great number. Murray State, Auburn. Sounds like Flanagan will be back for Auburn. A little bit of value on Murray State, but overall, I need a bigger number, and I don't think it's going to come. However, real life basketball should be a fun game. Should be up and down. Should be high quality, competitive stuff. All right, Stanford, Wyoming. This is on a neutral court. Look, I've looked at this game a couple different angles. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm just riding Maldonado and the boys, so it's Wyoming for me. Can't talk myself out of it. It's on the card, and I'm moving on. Let's go Cowboys. Liberty versus my alma mater, Northern Iowa. Super high variance. UNI, 46.4% three-point rate. Liberty, 52.5% three-point rate. So I'm going to sit this one out. But, whoever makes the jump shots is going to succeed. So I think Northern Iowa can make shots here. Saw another handicapper, Eli Hershkovich, who is awesome, by the way. Really good with situational betting, but basically never bets a favorite. It's kind of fun. But Liberty plays a similar defense to what St. Bonaventure does, and Northern Iowa is able to make shots against St. Bonaventure with ease. However, on the flip side of that, St. Bonaventure can be inept offensively, and that is not Liberty. So don't necessarily see eye to eye, but not enough for me to bet that game. College of Charleston against Old Dominion would be next here. And College of Charleston is number 1 in tempo, and Old Dominion is number 343. So kind of a battle of wills here. I have Charleston by 1. Old Dominion's currently favored by 3.5. Just seems a little unpredictable given the circumstances, and I had a big enough card. But gun to my head, I would pick College of Charleston. San Diego, UNLV. I don't see much here. UNLV has played a really difficult schedule, but all efficiencies are adjusted for opponent. So I don't see any clear matchup advantages either way. I have San Diego at 3, Torvik at 2, Ken Palm at 6. So we just have a consensus there, a possession lighter than the current line of 9. I'm just going to jump on the 9 and hope I'm right. Next up, Dixie State and Southern Utah. Kind of an interesting one here. This should be a fast game. I have Southern Utah winning, but by about 4.5. The current line is 11, so there's a lot of variance there. Something to note, though, these teams actually played earlier this season. Dixie won by 7. So the tricky part here is I think it's a clear play, but Ken Palm has it at 14. And so now I don't know what to do with it. Do you wait and hope to get a bigger number? But you think people would see that these two teams played, and yeah, I mean it can bounce back to the road team. It happens all the time. A lot of conference foes split, but I don't know. It just feels like a lot of value. I just got to figure out how to time that bet properly, and I'm not sure yet. St. Thomas, Denver. This is not the spot that it was against Omaha, because Omaha will play a little faster. Denver is a little slower. It's not elite grinding, but they'll grind you out a little bit. However, after I dug into this one, it looks like, look, the Tommies are who we thought they are. They're going to score a lot of points, give up a lot of points, make a lot of shots, give up a lot of easy shots. However, when Denver has a better effective field goal, that really hasn't affected their overall adjusted efficiency that much. It's not as correlated as other teams. So I've got a slight edge here to St. Thomas, have them winning by 5-6 points, and they're actually getting some points here. So I'm going to keep riding St. Thomas. Illinois, Missouri. Either Missouri turned a corner, or Missouri just exploited a Utah team without Carlson over the weekend. That same Utah team that scored like 45 points against Fresno State without Jamarl Baker. And how they beat Utah was they hammered the glass, which Illinois is a top tier rebounding team, and the offense has been really humming since they got Kofi back about 3-4 games in. So giant spread, but it is a neutral court. It's not at Mizzou. So the line is 13.5. I have Illinois by 21, which seems odd on neutral court, but I think this is the matchup. I'm gonna go there, and willing to look like a fool laying that insane amount of points, but I like it. Strongly considered Florida Gulf Coast and Canisius, but a little high variance. And then Canisius had a game against Youngstown State that really drags their profile down. So if I massage that, I'm probably closer to a 7.5, and the line is 3.5. So it's getting tight there. But if you want action, I do like the Gulf Coast side of that game. Kennesaw State, Nebraska. I show value on Kennesaw State here, but they have been absolutely crushed. 60% 2-point defense, which is hard to do, and I do think Nebraska can take advantage of that. So I will sit that one out, but it's worth noting, live betting purposes or line movement purposes. The spreads here, Northern Kentucky against Indiana, just a little too big. Like, there's a little value there, but on a card that is as big as it is right now, I don't see the need to go there. Youngstown State, West Virginia. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. It's tight to begin with and just doesn't feel like a great spot. Wichita State, Prairie View A&M. PVM's actually done okay this year, all things considered for SWAC Nation there. So it's orange for a reason. Just don't love it. Notre Dame's like my Mississippi. I said Mississippi was fraudulent, and I didn't think Stanford was the team to expose it, and then Stanford beat them at Ole Miss Tuesday night. Crazy stuff. Okay, but I don't think this is the matchup for Corpus Christi. They thrive on pace, they thrive on turnovers, and the Irish likely control both. Troy and Mercer. There is some value here. I have Mercer by 11, line 7.5. Mercer's been inconsistent on both sides, just an erratic profile. However, it's a 7.5 point spread. Ken Palm at 6. So if it dipped down to 6, it could show up on my card. So certainly worth noting. Campbell, UNC Wilmington. Campbell is extremely average in all phases, just a middle of the road team. Not glaring strengths, not glaring weaknesses, just a solid average team. And that is likely all it takes against UNC Wilmington. Line is 3.5. I am comfortable there. I have Campbell by 9 just by default. Like UNC Wilmington is 9 points worse than an average team. Campbell's an average team. So I like that one. Hartford, Sacred Heart. I do give Sacred Heart the edge, but both teams have a high 3-point rate and aren't very good overall. So it's just a little shaky for a schedule like this. If it was I don't know, Monday slate was like 15 games. Yeah, they might squeeze their way in if there wasn't anything else and I wanted some action, but I have enough on this card to stretch it, in my opinion. Minnesota Green Bay. This is on paper a good bet. The soft opener was even lower, but Green Bay is due some positive 3-point regression. They're like dead last in 3-point percentage made, and Minnesota is the opposite of that. So I think Green Bay is due to make more threes, and I think Minnesota is due to give up more threes. And on top of all that, it's a slow pace. So laying a 17 in a situation like that doesn't seem like a place I want to go. This one almost made it. Maryland Eastern Shore at George Washington. I have this closer to a one-possession game. The line is up in the 10.5 range. I do think there's an edge here, but both teams are pretty bad. And the one thing that intrigues me is Maryland Eastern Shore has had a few competent performances pop up, and that's what's affecting the data here, but I haven't seen it enough to pull the trigger. But I'm intrigued by that one. That one is interesting to me. They've hung with some decent teams, some good teams even, so something to note. Western Illinois, Nebraska, Omaha. Western Illinois is high variance. I think this is a ceiling matchup for Western Illinois. Pace should be fine. They have an immense offensive advantage. I'm picturing like the first half of St. Thomas, Nebraska, Omaha from a few days ago, but can sustain for the whole game just because Western Illinois is more competent defensively. Now, Western Illinois coming off a bad game against Denver. They won, but certainly did not look first class doing it, and some of that comes down to Denver being better than Nebraska Omaha and playing at a much slower pace. So that's my pool. If you bet every single game on this, I wouldn't have a problem with it. However, I'm prioritizing and trying to make better decisions in my own game. So this is what my final pool looks like. Any bets made will be bet on BetStamp, typically using Bovada. If I don't have a line on a game from Bovada, which happens sometimes, I'll throw a different sportsbook on there. But user ID, CD, TN. I like Wyoming, +1. The Ken Palm line on that game is Stanford -2. You could get a tad bit of line movement. It is a neutral court. I'm fine with +1. San Diego, +9. This has a Ken Palm number of 6, a Torvik number of 2, and the famous cutting down the nets line of 3. So I will be betting that one sooner than later. Not sure when to bet Dixie, but will be betting Dixie. Just trying to figure that one out with Ken Palm being at 14. but liking the play and dealing with an 11. Currently, St. Thomas plus 1.5, Illinois minus 13.5, Campbell minus 3.5, Western Illinois minus 12. Something to note on that game is KenPom has it at 10. It is a road game. It is a conference game. So perhaps a better number is available. Then Arizona at 2. I don't see it getting better than that. It's tricky too. When you make a bet, if you check back in mid-afternoon, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a fish. Like, didn't get closing line value on any of these, but it's called closing line value for a reason, not middle of the day line value. So wait till the close, and typically where I'm at comes around. Not all the time. It's hard to beat the line every single play. I do it consistently, but there's going to be some misses. But don't freak out if you bet a game, the line moves, and you're like, oh no, I'm on the wrong side, because sure enough, as it gets closer to tip, you'll see that it wasn't that bad. Now, does that mean you could have been more patient, got a better line? Absolutely, but it is a very difficult game to play. I call it the game within the game. It's one thing to know what side of the game to bet. The next tricky part is when to bet that. So, this is likely the last show till after Christmas. There's a super small schedule for December 23rd. I'll be at my in-laws' farm in Iowa. Get the meatloaf ready. Maybe we'll do a quick one. Who knows? Otherwise, hope you have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Don't care. Imagine hating on someone else's joy. So enjoy your time with family. Enjoy a break from college basketball, because after the holiday, we're going to get after it.